Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we are jumping right into something absolutely fascinating today, the psychology of how people perceive you before you even say a single word. Have you ever wondered why some people just instantly command a room, while others, who have the exact same qualifications, by the way, just kind of fade into the background? Well, today we're going to unpack exactly why that happens. So, let's start with this number, 40. The science behind this is literally staggering. The human brain takes exactly 40 seconds to run an unconscious threat and opportunity assessment on you the second you walk into a room. 40 seconds. That is all the time it takes for a room full of people to decide who they trust, who they want on their team, and who brings value.
To really get this, let's look at two people, Alex and Sarah. On paper, they have identical credentials. They work at the exact same company, but when Alex walks in, hunched over, kind of hovering and unsure, he basically becomes invisible. Meanwhile, Sarah walks in with this quiet, grounded confidence. She's got an open posture, makes deliberate eye contact, and she just immediately wins the room.
To understand why this happens, we actually have to go back to 1959 and look at the work of sociologist Irving Goffman. He introduced this idea that we are all essentially on a stage. Every single social interaction is a structural performance where we are managing our audience's perception. And the truly magnetic people out there, they simply manage these impressions deliberately, rather than just letting them happen by accident. All right, moving to tip 1, warmth before competence. These are the two dials your brain uses. The science here is so cool. Some brilliant research by Fisk, Cuddy, and Glick proves that the brain always assesses warmth before it even cares about your competence. They created this stereotype content model showing that every judgment we make collapses into two axes, warmth and competence. But your brain always asks the urgent survival question first. Is this person a friend or a threat? Way before it ever asks, are they actually capable of doing the job? Let's look at a new guy, Ryan. Ryan is our classic foil here. He leads with loud self-promotion, rattling off his budgets and team sizes, all while standing there with a totally closed-off posture. And honestly, the room feels cold. Now contrast that with Sarah. She smiles and she asks a warm question, specifically, what matters most to the team before she even mentions her own background. By leading with warmth, Sarah earns their trust on the spot. So the takeaway here is perfectly summed up by this quote: competence without warmth is just a threat in a good suit. Think about that. If you don't establish warmth first, your raw intelligence and your skills will actually make people defensive. Your competence feels like a threat instead of a huge asset. Warmth is literally the key that unlocks your competence so everyone else can appreciate it. On to tip 2, nonverbal signals. Basically, how your body speaks way before you do. Just look at the difference here. Alex's nervous body language, those rolled shoulders, that reactive, sort of tight smile, it instantly anchors a negative impression. His body is shouting to the room that he doesn't belong. But Sarah? She's got this confident openness. Her feet are planted, chin is lifted, and she's smiling before a handshake even happens. She is signaling to everyone that she is exactly where she's supposed to be. You can actually build your own physical toolkit using these 4 scientifically proven nonverbal cues. We're talking an open posture, visible and purposeful gestures, a genuine Duchenne smile, the kind that actually reaches all the way to your eyes, and sustained natural eye contact. Just doing these 4 things will immediately boost both your warmth and competence scores without you having to utter a single syllable. Okay, tip 3, the ingratitude paradox. This is all about how to actually make people like you. So back to Ryan. Ryan uses all this empty, excessive praise, which research shows actually makes you seem fake and way less likable. Instead, you've got to follow Sarah's method. Give compliments that follow 3 exact steps. Make them highly specific, make absolutely sure they are earned, and base them on something you actually personally observed. Anybody can just say, hey, great job, but taking the time to notice exactly why someone is great, that builds a real lasting connection. Moving to tip 4, show, don't tell, the power of exemplification. Here's Ryan again, trying to build his reputation by loudly telling everyone in earshot how committed he is. And of course, that only breeds skepticism, right? Meanwhile, Sarah just quietly shows up early and always follows through on her commitments. She's building a self-sustaining reputation that enters the room before she even gets to the door, because real experiences and observations are just exponentially more powerful than empty claims. Let's hit tip 5, strategic self-disclosure. why vulnerability is actually a massive power move. Studies published in the Journal of Management highlight a truly remarkable dynamic here. At a client dinner, Alex is projecting this flawless, robotic perfection, and guess what? The conversation just completely falls flat. But Sarah decides to share a genuine complication they're currently working through. Her graduated strategic self-disclosure lowers the client's uncertainty and sparks immediate trust. It totally beats Alex's highly polished, impenetrable armor. People connect with what's real, not what's perfect. Which brings us to a really fascinating question, one that sets up our most counterintuitive and honestly probably our most powerful tip. Think back to the last networking event you went to. Out of everyone there, who do you actually remember 2 weeks later? And that brings us to tip 6, the power of active listening, the ultimate counterintuitive tool. While Ryan is out there exhausting the room, scrambling to fill every single pause with his own stories, Sarah is doing something totally different. She uses these precise steps to make people feel completely heard and deeply valued. She paraphrases back what they say. She asks really precise follow-up questions, and she completely removes physical distractions. Literally, she puts the phone away. The wild paradox here is that a room remembers the person who made them feel heard way more than the person who talked the most. Finally, tip 7, consistency across all contexts, the impression you live. Look, context inconsistency is deadly. Ryan is absolutely amazing in the boardroom, right? But then he's completely dismissive to the intern out in the hallway. Sarah, however, maintains the exact same caliber of respect for the intern as she does for the high-level executives. How you treat the intern tells people so much more about your true character than how you treat the interviewer. You have to manage the impression you actually live, not just the one you perform. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, let it be this. Impression management is not manipulation. Not at all. It is simply fluency in the language every human brain already speaks. Mastering these behaviors is just learning a powerful new language. It's not faking a personality. And just look at the transformation for Alex. The old Alex was overlooked and totally unsure of himself. But the new Alex? He's using that open posture, holding sustained eye contact, and carrying a genuinely grounded presence. This completely proves that magnetic influence isn't some rare, innate gift reserved for a lucky few. It is a highly learnable skill set. And it's one that has finally closed the gap between Alex's real potential and his everyday presence. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Which of these 7 behaviors are you going to change in your very next 40-second interaction? Because the gap between being overlooked and being deeply trusted, it isn't luck, it's a choice. Keep learning, keep practicing, and I will see you in the next explainer.